Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto Was a Godly Mage. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto. Learn the clone secret in the beginning and enjoy that guys. And later on, I'm going to be posting a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Given a Second Chance. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoy. And I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was Disowned by Everyone. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. And I hope you guys do enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Naruto was surprised because he was able to replicate Haku's eyes technique. As Yamato told him that he saw a memory of Naruto when he was younger with a girl with rather large breasts there as well. Her hands were glowing green and then his red cloak that he was always using came over her hands and his hands started to glow green as well. Hearing about that, the Kyuubi told him that he was medical ninjutsu. As Naruto started to face off against Haku, Haku wanted to go and help Zabuza, so she wasn't holding back as she trapped Naruto in the ice dome and started to fire off needles towards him. Naruto created a circle in front of his palm, which had strange seal all over it, as he started to fire out fireballs everywhere, destroying all of the needles. Haku was surprised how fast he was. She stood absolutely no chance. She's already sent a message off with one of her rabbits to go towards Zabuza and inform him if she doesn't come back, as she apologized in a letter. As Naruto knocked Haku out and tied her up, as he brought her back. As Zabuza saw the letter from one of the rabbits, as he just grunted, realizing Haku was now caught. As Naruto got back to the house and told him what happened, as Kakashi asked him if he's alright, as he told him that he's fine. As they tied up Haku and placed her upstairs, as Kakashi placed a seal on her to seal off her chakra. As the group was eating dinner and Inari started to talk about Gato was gonna kill them all, Naruto got pissed, really pissed, because he remembered going to see the people of this village, and he saw how they were being treated, as he looked at the state that they were in. Kids, old people, in bad state, as he got pissed and shouted at Inari in a rather vile manner. As he started to curse out the little boy, he doesn't understand the true meaning of anything known as pain. He has a family here that's willing to protect him and everything. As Naruto calmed himself after he saw Tsunami begging him, as Inari just didn't understand. Time skip, when Haku finally came to, she saw the boy there that knocked her out. As she asked why didn't he kill her. As Naruto brought something for her, a plate. It was soup. As her stomach grumbled because she hadn't eaten anything, making her look rather embarrassed. As he fed her, as she didn't want to accept at first, but she eventually did. For the next 3 days, he kept on talking to her. She didn't know why, but she didn't feel like a hostage, as he was rather nice. As he brought her every time towards the bridge to see if Zabuza would come. The end of the final third day, they got there as they saw the workers, they were knocked out on the bridge. As Zabuza came out of the mess. As Naruto was beyond shock, as he told Zabuza to stand down because they have Haku. But Zabuza told him that Haku was nothing more than a simple tool, and he doesn't care what happened. As Naruto placed down Haku and got his hands enveloping flames, Kakashi tried to stop him, but Naruto moved off as he dashed towards Zabuza, as Zabuza was surprised by the kid's speed. So yeah guys, so it's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. It was because of years of experience While Zabuza was able to block this strike as he brought down his sword right in front of him. As Naruto's fist that was covered in flames made contact with the blade, Zabuza felt the force as his foot got skidded back on the bridge, surprising him. As he managed to hold himself tight though, when he heard something cracking, he had to quickly jump back away from Naruto. As Zabuza looked at his blade, there was a small crack on his blade. What the? That was all he could see as he saw Naruto coming down with a heel drop towards his skull. Zabuza brought up his blade intending on slicing off Naruto's leg. With impressive speed and flexibility, Naruto twisted his body as he placed his hand on top of Zabuza's blade. As he propelled himself off, a kick lashing out towards Zabuza's face. Zabuza tilted his head as Naruto passed him, as he swiped down with his blade, intending on slicing Naruto in half. As Naruto landed, Kakashi dashed forward, but to everyone's surprise, Naruto raised his hand behind him and grabbed the blade, as his hands were still covered in flames. Zabuza was yet again taken aback. As Sasuke neared his eyes, that blade was cut right through Naruto's hand, but yet still he grabbed it. As Kakashi came to a stop as well, the bridge under Naruto's feet exploded because of the weight that Zabuza carried on in the blade, but yet still Naruto didn't even move, as he was holding the blade in his palm. As Zabuza grunted in annoyance, "How are you doing this, brat?" he asked. "She gave everything for you," Naruto said in a rather calm tone. "She was willing to put her life on the line numerous times when we talked, she told me. She would do anything to make sure that you're safe. And yet still, you call her a tool." "What are you babbling on about, brat?" asked Zabuza. "You're nothing but trash," said Naruto. As his grip then tightened on the blade, Zabuza narrowed his eyes as he saw Kakashi coming behind him, but that was the wrong thing to do. As Naruto lashed out that spinning kick, smashing it right in Zabuza's gut, sending him sailing off the bridge going into the water. As Zabuza came on top of the water, he then looked up quickly as he saw Naruto raining down fireballs on him. As Zabuza jumped back as the fireballs hit the water, exploding them outwards. As Naruto landed, pushing off with great force, Zabuza swung his blade at Naruto's head as Naruto ducked right under it. Before placing his hand down into the water, a giant water fist then came behind Zabuza and tried to grab him, but Zabuza flipped as he went through handstand in mid-air. "Water style, water bullets," he said, as he fired out several water bullets out of his mouth. As Naruto raised both of his hands and fired off several large balls of flames. As he connected the water bullet, Zabuza went through handstand, hidden mist technique, he said. As mist started to fill the area, "You know, you're powerful for a little Jenny, you know that, kid. You're gonna be a big nuisance my way, but I'm glad that we're underwater. I can get rid of those other two. Haku has proven to be nothing but worthless to me by letting herself get captured, so it doesn't matter what happens here on out." Kakashi cursed as he couldn't see through the mist. It was too thick as he had his headband lifted up. As Zabuza secretly created some water clones. Sasuke, who was on the bridge with Sakura, as Haku was still looking out into the water. But secretly, one of the builders left a tool on the bridge that was rather sharp, as she was using it to cut the wires that was attached to her, as they weren't really focused on her, as Tazuna was looking out as well. Sasuke then felt like something was off as he turned his head just in time to see Zabuza behind Tazuna. "Old man, get down," he shouted. As Tazuna looked at Sasuke, as he slowly turned around to see Zabuza behind him, his blade coming out to cleave him right in half. Sasuke made it just in time as he clashed kunai with his blade. Zabuza raised his foot as he smashed it right into Sasuke's stomach. Sasuke winced out in pain, but he held on to the foot as he stabbed his kunai right in it. As Zabuza burst, instead of blood, it was water. As Sasuke looked around, "Sasuke, can you okay?" Sakura asked. "Watch him," said Sasuke as he pointed at Tazuna. As Sasuke stepped forward, a harsh kick then connected right in his back, kicking him further down into the bridge. He got up quickly as he turned to see Zabuza behind him once more, as he brought up another kunai and blocked the strike. As he grunted as the blade was pushing down on him. But he couldn't die here. He couldn't afford to die here. He needed to get his revenge. He needed to kill Itachi. He couldn't. He just couldn't die, he shouted in his mind. As he felt a newfound strength that he used to pry the blade up a bit, just enough to slip right under Zabuza's guard and slice right into his calves. As he burst into water, Sasuke huffed as he looked around as two more water clones came on the bridge. Sasuke noticed them coming at him, but they were moving slower than before. He could literally see them coming at him, every precise move that they were going to make, as he wondered what was going on. Meanwhile, as Zabuza's eyes were sharp in the mist, he was used to this technique as he could see very well through it. He wasn't the silent killer after all for nothing, as he held on to his blade rather tight. But suddenly, something burst out of the water from behind him. He spun around and jumped away from the chains that came from the water. But the next thing he knew, he landed right in something, as he was grabbed tightly by an arm, by a water arm that started to squeeze him, as he winced out in pain. But he was able to push his own arms open up, trying to get free. But then a chain wrapped around his leg and dragged him underwater, as he held his breath before he was pulled up back out of the surface, as he was thrust towards the mainland. As he flipped and landed back on his feet, Kakashi noticed as he saw them over there now, as he rushed over there. Zabuza had to jump away as many spikes came from the ground, nearly impaling him. Once again, this kid's strange powers caught him off guard. It's really difficult to get past, as he doesn't even know anything about it. As he then saw the kid up ahead, as Naruto slammed both of his hands on the ground, all the trees around them rooted themselves out of the ground and started to create a barrier of some sorts, wrapping themselves tightly. Naruto Kakashi shouted out as he couldn't get inside. As Naruto clenched his fists, "You're not going anywhere," he said. As Zabuza looked around, rather stupid of you, kid. You think I'm the one that's trapped? That's where you're wrong. You have just trapped yourself with a demon. Let's see how you handle this," Zabuza said, with a smirk on his face as you could well see it under his bandages. As a wicked grin came on Naruto's face. "So you think you're a demon, huh?" he said. Lifting up his head, Zabuza saw his eyes. They were now red, with slits in them. "Naruto-kun, you have to calm down," to the Kyuubi. "I don't want you getting too angry and joining on too much of my chakra and getting hurt from the backlash." "She's right, kid," said Yamato. "I am well with you that this guy deserves to pay, but you can't go and lose your shit right now. Remember, he's still a highly skilled Jonin, so you have to watch yourself and be ready for anything. The things that you have, the advantage of surprise. He doesn't know about your attacks. See like you're different from everyone else. So use that as your advantage and show him hell," said Yamato. "I intend to," said Naruto. Zabuza dashed forward with incredible speed. Yamato appeared as Naruto held his hand out as a handle came from Yamato's page. As Naruto pulled out a blade out of it, a single white blade. It had a black hilt with two guards coming down, two golden guards. As a dragon was wrapped around the hilt, a golden dragon. Zabuza didn't let up as he came at Naruto as he brought down his blade with so much force. The ground buckled and cracked under Naruto's feet. But Naruto was able to struggle to hold him up after all this intense muscle training with Guy and Lee. He was able to hold his own in a battle of strength. As Naruto released all of his strength, making Zabuza calm down with so much force that he was realizing, as Naruto slid under his guard and sliced right at Zabuza's feet, but Zabuza jumped over it as he kicked Naruto in the back. He then twisted around and came down, driving his blade to separate Naruto's head from his shoulders. But Naruto spun just in time and rolled over before thrusting his blade towards Zabuza, as Zabuza knocked it away to the side. Before going through Hansai, "Water style, water bullet," he said, as he fired off several water bullets, stopping Naruto from getting to his blade. As Zabuza jumped right in front of the blade and picked it up. So you think you're a swordsman, huh?" said Zabuza. As he held the blade like a spear. "Your sensei is trapped out there. Let's see how long you survive," as he thrust it towards Naruto. But Yamato appeared as the blade slid right back into the book. As Yamato then went beside Naruto as Naruto pulled back out the blade. You have some tricks, but let's see you keep up now," Zabuza said, as he started to dash around Naruto, as he was moving so fast that his body could be seen as a blur. As Naruto's eyes were narrowing all around, his eyes were still red with slits in them. As Naruto was able to make out his figure, Guy was at least 10 times faster than him. Zabuza then came in that downward swipe as Naruto rolled under it. But Zabuza twisted his body and kicked Naruto right under the chin, knocking him over to the side. As Zabuza simply chuckled, "If this is what you have, kid, you have made a sad mistake by trapping yourself in here with me. Now, I have people to kill. So what do you say we finish this?" "Hey," Naruto suddenly said, "are you done yet?" as he looked up. Zabuza was confused. What was he talking to? I mean, I know you're using a lot of mana doing this, but you're seriously holding back my game. I can't even fight so well because you're using so much power. So, you finish? Yeah, I'm done. Zabuza looked up to see the trees parting to give another Naruto away. The first Naruto that he was fighting simply shimmered away into nothingness. As Zabuza narrowed his eyes, what was that? As Naruto narrowed his eyes dangerously back at Zabuza, you were fighting my clone the entire time. You think that was the real me talking that much? No, you're sadly mistaken. After what you said about Haku, I'm gonna make sure you pay severely. As Naruto extended his arms out, suddenly all the trees were pushed open as Kakashi had to jump back. As he wondered what the hell is going on, he tried to slice and dice through this, but the tree was thick. And if he went too hard, the thing would lash out at him, not to kill him, but just to fend him off. People like you don't deserve mercy, said Naruto. Zabuza looked around in shock, as he was surrounded by strange circles with strange writing on them. As he wondered what the hell is... Zabuza twisted his body, but he wasn't fast enough to dodge lightning. As he was struck in the arm, he winced out in pain, as his arm felt like it was electrocuted with so much force, like it was about to fall off. Even his blade dropped down to the ground. As he winced out in pain looking at his arm, as he saw the thing was charging up for another blast, he quickly jumped off to the other side. But the moment he did, the earth shifted under his feet as he had to jump in the air. But that was a bad thing to do, as one of the trees lashed out at him with one of the spikes that stabbed him right in the arm. He used his other arm, pulling it as hard as he could as he smashed it on the tree branch, snapping it as he landed back on the ground. Now both of his arms were severely hurt. As he grunted in pain looking around, where was that damn... He couldn't even get to finish a sentence. All of the air was knocked out of him. It would seem like he was knocked senseless for a second there as a feet connected into his face. His body was jolted as he was sent crashing before rolling to a stop. He tried to pick himself up, but Naruto landed right in his chest and sit right down and started to smash his fist in Zabuza's face. After all that she's done for you, Naruto says, he smashed his fist once more. You would treat her like a tool like that, even saying that her life is not even worth anything, Naruto said. As Zabuza felt himself slowly slipping in and out of consciousness, as Naruto grabbed his head and smashed it hard down into the ground. As he was pissed, not holding back anymore, even his fangs were getting sharp. His eyes were getting narrowed, as a thin black line came around his lip. Even his hair started to get a lot spikier. As Kakashi narrowed his eyes dangerously, he could only watch the scene in front of him as he watched Naruto completely obliterate Zabuza. As he wondered just how powerful was Naruto, but this was going too far. As Naruto got up and grabbed Zabuza by the face and thrust him forward. As a tree then came behind Zabuza as the vines wrapped around his arms, holding him out, so he could not escape. I told you that scum like you don't deserve to live. As Naruto held out his hand, what the hell are you doing, said Yamato. You need to calm the hell down now. You have already defeated him. Do not go this far. You tried that technique before, and it nearly messed you up the last time. Remember what happened? You woke up in the hospital. He needs to die, Naruto said. Naruto-kun, he's right. You're letting your anger fuel you. Please calm down, said the Kyuubi. The reason why Yamato was worried because Naruto was going to use one of his most dangerous spells. The reason being this spell was mostly conducted from lightning. And the thing is, sometimes the lightning gets out of hand. Well, to the point where Naruto can't control it. He did this once before. This was one of his top tier spells, and it was too dangerous until he get a full mastery over it. As he shouldn't be using this at a time right now when he's so angry and can slip up and make mistakes. As Yamato looked over at the Kyuubi, we need to stop him. As she narrowed her eyes, he's in complete focus right now. It's not like we can take over his body when he's not focusing. Yamato cursed as it was just a short link. They could only take over his body or do something like that when he's not focusing or he's asleep or something. But now, they didn't feel that pull to take over his body. Thunder Spear, said Naruto. As Kakashi stepped forward as he heard lightning crackling. Kakashi blinked twice as he looked at Naruto's arm. His entire arm was covered in lightning. It seemed like the skin had been torn off of his arm, making it just look blue and hazy as the lightning started to sparkle all over his body. Zabuza's eyes went wide. Was this brat really gonna kill him? Was this where everything ends? As Naruto shot off the ground, Kakashi had no intentions of jumping in the way of that to stop Naruto, because Zabuza was their enemy and he was supposed to die. But as a Jonin sensei, he wanted to be the one responsible. Zabuza slowly closed his eyes, but before he fully closed them, a blur shot past him. As he opened back his eyes, it was Haku. That was all he could say. As Naruto cursed, he was already going with the momentum as Sakura and Sasuke and Tazuna was there as well. Seeing what was going on, there was no way he could stop that in time. Yamato, he shouted. Are you crazy? Yamato said, already knowing what Naruto wanted me to do. It will hurt you even more. She's innocent in all of this, I can't kill her. Just do it, Naruto said. As the Kyuubi looked at Yamato, do not do it, she said, knowing intently what they wanted him to do. As Yamato was conflicted, but he could hear the tone that Naruto spoke to him with. He was serious, and he couldn't let Naruto down like that. I'm sorry, he said to the Kyuubi. As she cried out Yamato's name as Yamato vanished from the mindscape and appeared in the real world, as he came right in front of Haku. None of these attacks or spells could affect Yamato in any way. So the only way to stop Naruto was to do this. As Naruto's lightning-covered arm slammed right into the cover of Yamato, Haku's eyes went wide when she suddenly saw the book came in front of her. A few sparks resonated off of Yamato as it clashed right on her as she winced in pain, but it wasn't anything too bad. But it was Naruto who got the full brunt, as Yamato's cover was able to reflect things that were sent his way. It wasn't something that he did, it was just that none of Naruto's spells or most didn't work on him, seeing that Naruto already tried to burn him to pieces, and nothing happened. But now, the attack with full force, it sent that trigger back, and the backlash was intense. As the lightning imploded on Naruto, Kakashi and the others' eyes went wide when the thing jolted back into Naruto full force and sent him sailing right in toward the sea. As Haku was surprised at what just happened, she was ready to die for Zabuza. He was her master after all, and yet Naruto stopped himself. She recognized that book from their fight earlier. Yes, he was the one behind it. And now, as Naruto crashed into the water, the lightning still circulating all over his body, a huge screeching sound could be heard as the water and the lightning mixed, creating a booming effect. As the water was pushed back for a second there, before it enclosed on everything else. As Kakashi dashed forward, with no hesitation he jumped right into the water. As the electrified current, it just vanished. As he swam until he saw Naruto as Naruto's body was going down. As he increased his pace and grabbed Naruto, he pulled Naruto out of the water and landed right on the shore. As he rested his head down, he didn't hear anything, as Naruto's heart had completely stopped because of the electricity. Inside of the mindscape, as Yamato had a shocked expression in his face, he never knew that it would be this bad. What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? The Kyuubi exploded in rage. But before she could do anything, the place started to get dark. Oh no, she said, as she realized what was happening. What's going on? Asked Yamato. He's dying, she shouted, as she saw the place start to get dark. Meanwhile, outside, Kakashi-sensei, what is he? As Sakura couldn't even find the words. Even Sasuke had a worried look on his face, 2 times now, but this time it looked more severe, as Naruto had a lot of burn marks all over his body. As Haku felt dread. This was all her fault, as Naruto wasn't even moving. Kakashi placed his hands on Naruto's chest. Come on, you can't die like this, he said. Minato gave him that request before he went off to face the fox to look after Naruto. Even though he hasn't always been there for him, he always made sure that he was in safe care because Uncle was always there. So he just kept himself out of the equation, but he still looked after him to make sure that he wasn't in any terrible danger. But now, lying here, Takashi's hand started to sparkle with lightning as he hit Naruto's chest, trying to restart his heart, but nothing. He hit Naruto's chest again. Nothing. Come on, he says. He raised his hand and slammed it down hard as he hit Naruto's chest with a boom. Suddenly a jolt, as Kakashi placed his head down on Naruto's chest, as he then heard a beat, as he released a sigh of relief, as he looked over at Naruto to see, as Kakashi had to back away as Naruto's body became enveloped in a red-coated chakra. As he knew what this was, it was the same feeling. Meanwhile, inside the mindscape, Yamato had to bat the hell away from her. She was angry. She wasn't even looking at him though, as he could hear her sniffles. He couldn't see her face though, but he knew that she was crying. Meanwhile, the Kyuubi was pumping out as much chakra as she can, as much as her yokai possible, to make sure he healed as fast as possible. For once, she was so thankful to a human. She has never been so thankful to a human before, as that sensei of theirs just saved his life. It has been a couple of years, and through all of her previous containers, through all of her previous holders, they have always treated her like she was nothing more than a wild beast. But this boy, even though he knew that she was the one that attacked the village all those years ago, even though she told him that she wasn't ready to talk about why she did that yet, but she told him that it wasn't because of her, on her behalf, he believed her, and he didn't question her. He didn't even ask her about his parents or anything like that, because she was there that night. And the old man had told him that his parents died on the Kyuubi's attack, and he didn't blame her for that. She didn't know when, but she started caring for this boy so much, saved him that state a minute ago. The emotions that flared through her, she felt like a human, as she didn't like to feel this way. She always messed with him and flirt with him somehow, but she really cared about him, because he was the only human to ever treat her this way, other than someone else, but he wasn't really human. But she just, as she turned her head, she looked at Yamato who had a sad look on his face, but she didn't care. And Naruto, he went along with his stupid plan. He could have gotten a kill, but instead he ended up risking his life because he knew that there would be a backlash. But he allowed Yamato to do it anyway because of that stupid, idiotic girl. Why the hell would he try to die over that? As she felt angry. She was angry at the both of them. As she got up and started to walk away, Yamato's words died in his throat, as he couldn't say anything to her right now. As he just sit there. For a second there, he thought that he was going to lose Naruto as well. Not even he can bear it. And he knew that she cared about Naruto as well. So she must be feeling, as he sighed as he just lie down. Back outside, Naruto coughed as he slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was Kakashi, as Kakashi had the eye smiled directly towards him. Sensei, Naruto said, "You gave us quite a scare there," said Tazuna. "Yeah, Naruto Baka," said Sakura. "2 times now, you almost got yourself killed. What the hell were you thinking?" she said. "Huh, nice to see you too, Sakura." Sakura sighed. Even though the both of them always bicker, she didn't want him to die or anything like that. He was a part of this team, and while their relationship wasn't the best, it still wasn't the worst. As Naruto looked at Sasuke, "So, you weren't going to say anything?" He then noticed Sasuke's eyes. "Your eyes," Naruto said. As Naruto sighed, Sasuke smirked. "Don't tell me that you're going to be more cocky than before," Naruto asked. Sasuke said. "Mother of God," said Naruto, "you're not even talking to anyone now." "Huh, you're even worse than before." As Naruto got up with a wince, Kakashi placed a hand on his shoulder. "Take it easy. You just went through something extremely difficult. You need to relax yourself." As Naruto looked at his hands, "Yeah, I guess you're right. But what about them?" As Naruto looked over, Zabuza was on the ground as his back was leaning against a tree. As Naruto's technique had stopped after he got, electrocuted. As Haku was still there, standing in front of him. "Kakashi-sensei, can you give me a hand?" Naruto asked. Kakashi extended his hand, as Naruto got back to his feet. "Thanks," Naruto said. As he stepped forward, the group following behind him. But he had a limp in his step, his body not yet fully recovered. As Naruto stopped, as Zabuza narrowed his eyes, the boy did a number on him. If the boy wanted to, he could have killed him right here and now, because there was no way that he could stop him. And not to mention Kakashi hadn't even entered the fray, so he was fully energized, and he could kill the two of them right now. I guess I failed, said Zabuza. So go ahead, he said. You deserve it, kid. After proving how strong you are, you can take my life. At least you're not a weak warrior. I'm not gonna kill you, said Naruto. Huh? You're not? So what was all those threats about? Zabuza-sama, said Haku. As Zabuza saw Haku glaring at him, he was surprised because this was the first she ever glared at him this way. Do you understand now, Naruto asked? I had your life in my hand, you were about to die. If I wanted to, I could have ripped my jutsu right through Haku's chest and continued on killing you. But she doesn't deserve to die. And after all that you said today, after all the crap that you said, and that she was only a tool to be used by you, she still jumped in the way of my attack to save your miserable life. Can you really sit there and say that she means nothing to you? Are you really that cold-hearted, Naruto asked? As Zabuza looked at him, before looking at Haku, Haku looked down. Even though she was always loyal to Zabuza, over the past 3 days this kid has said some things to her, and she has seen a couple of things, which made her realize something, that she would just be a tool forever. But she was still loyal, because Zabuza was her precious person. He was the one that saved her life after all. What could she do? She couldn't just abandon him. As she looked away, she then felt a hand on her shoulder. Haku, I'm sorry. She looked up. Zabuza-sama, she said. I was wrong, he said. Through all of our years, I have always taken you for granted, trying to show that you were just my tool to use. But, even though I didn't want to admit it, I truly care about you, Haku. If it wasn't for you, my life would be empty. If it wasn't for you being there. The reason I didn't ever say anything to you, or act a certain way. Most time when you get attached to something, sooner or later, that things get taken away. And in this ninja world that we're living in, I'm shameful to say it, but I was afraid that you will get taken away as well. So if you meant nothing to me, then it wouldn't be so bad if I lost you. But I was wrong. I want you to know how deeply sorry I am. Could you ever forgive me, he asked. Zabuza-sama, she said with tears in her eyes. Of course, she said. You've been my precious person from the start. I wouldn't just abandon you like that. And you still are my precious person. How sweet, said a voice. As the group turned towards the end of the bridge, there was a rather short man standing there. Behind him was a ton of thugs and bandits. I can't believe you, Zabuza, said Gato. I thought you would have at least put some scratch on these Konoha ninjas. The only one who seemed to be a bit bruised up was that blonde-haired brat over there. The rest of them seemed to be fine. And you're worth so much, calling yourself a demon of the mist. You're nothing but a sham. Demon my ass, Gato said. But it doesn't matter. As Zabuza narrowed his eyes, I was planning on killing you anyway. Because you're too expensive. And you don't even do a good of a job. I mean, you haven't yet killed the bridge builder. You're making a big mistake, Gato, said Zabuza. And what the hell are you gonna do about it? Just look at you. Hey boys, the first one to bring me his head, get double. Well, Kakashi, it seems like we're no longer enemies, said Zabuza. It seems that way, said Kakashi. But we have a bigger problem on our hand. Don't worry, I can fix this, Naruto said. What? Said Kakashi. Don't worry, I won't be fighting. Just a simple tap. As he walked towards the end of the bridge, Animate, he said. As Tazuna then felt the ground shaking. Hey kid, what did you just do? He asked. Oh, you're gonna see, said Naruto. As Gato stopped, as he felt the bridge shaking as well. Hey, what's going on? He shouted. You know, for a crime boss, you're nothing but a short little man, said Naruto. I'm rather disappointed. Why, you little brat? Gato stopped when he felt something grabbed him as he looked down towards his leg. What the hell? His foot was being sucked into a mouth. The bridge suddenly grew a mouth on it. Hey, what the hell is going on? The thug said. As Gato looked to see many of his men being drawn down. Before he was pulled down himself, he was already short, so he was quickly brought down. As it stopped right at his stomach, before he was roughly pulled towards the other end of the bridge, where the Konoha ninjas were. As many spikes then erupted out of the bridge side, and the metal bars erupted out as well with spikes. You guys still want to fight? Naruto asked. Many of them look unsure, but they hold themselves, some of them. Hey, send them flying, Naruto said. Suddenly, the bridge pulled itself back, to all of the man's shock. Before, it went straight down before launching all of them like a bullet. Their bodies were sent sailing straight into the far, far distance. As everyone watched, as they were gone. As Naruto turned towards Gato. Seems like all of your men has abandoned you. What do you want, kid? Said Gato. Come on, you and I can work out something. You were the one behind that little attack, so I know you can get me out of here. I'll give you anything, woman, money, islands, to just get me out of here, he said. Sure. I would like all of those things, said Naruto. But, nah, I don't really want anything from you. You're just a scumbag. After all I see what you did to this village, I would kill you myself. But I think I have something better in mind for you. And the people enjoy it as well. Goto started to shout at the boy to let him go, until Naruto simply knocked him in the back of the neck, knocking him out. As Naruto then clumped down on the ground, he was slightly exhausted and tiring from what just happened. Well, I suppose everything is over now, he said. As Tazuna walked over, yeah, and we got this short little bastard, he said. As Haku then stepped forward. Thank you. Said Naruto. Thank you, she said, for everything that you've done for me. You took your time. Most enemy ninjas will just kill the person and get it over with. But for the past 3 days, you have been talking to me, trying to make me see another way around everything. You spend time talking. And I don't know what reason for, other than you being such a good guy, she said, as she gave him a smile. Yeah, I'm pretty awesome that way, he said. And I know that book was your doing, she said. And if it wasn't for that, I would be probably dead right now. But you stopped it, putting your own life in danger. And for that you have my deepest thanks, she said. You don't have to worry about it, Naruto said. And you, Naruto says, he looked over at Zabuza. If you ever mistreat her again, I'll find you. And next time there won't be any talking or begging or pleading. I'll just come and kill you, Naruto said. I hope you take my words to heart. Because people don't deserve to be treated like tools. Equal partnership, that's the right thing to do. And see how much Haku loves you, like her own father. I suggest you treat her that way. As Zabuza didn't say anything because he knew that Naruto was right. Time skip. There was a big flame inside of the village of Wave, as many people gathered around. As Naruto had created a multiple copy of duplicates. As they all went around and they catch fishes, boars, all kind of animals. As it was a large cookout in the middle of Wave, and everyone was there, everyone was getting some good food. As all of them was thankful and grateful because of this boy, and what he has done for all of them. Meanwhile, over to a small, conserved area, Gato was inside as chains were wrapped around his arms, his legs, and his stomach. A rather large chain to hold him down. As everyone could see him through the bars. As sometimes they will pass them through rotten foods at him, humiliating him, as they will never let him out of there. For as much as he made them suffer, they was going to make him suffer as well. Think of it as his prison sentence, for all that he did. As they let the news slip that Gato was killed in action by the ninjas, so that no other mercenaries would come here to try and find him, or the ones that were working for him to try and help him. So for the rest of the time he will stay here and be utterly humiliated. As Naruto had set the bridge back down, but there was still a lot of repair to be done. Because most of it got broken apart and the spikes and all that. Even though they reserved it back down, it made the bridge a bit lumpy and they had to fix back the support beam. So we currently have Naruto, as Haku was there along with Zabuza. As Team 7, the rest of them were standing there as well. So where will you guys go from now on, Naruto asks. Well, wherever the road takes us. We're gonna be out there, said Zabuza, looking out for one another. As Naruto gave him a smile, Zabuza was all patched up after the time that he had spent here. Well, promise me something, you two, Naruto said. What is it? Haku asked. That you will look after each other and make sure that each other is safe. After all, I do want to see you guys again. As Zabuza smirked, yeah, and maybe next time we can go at it again. After you mature a bit. But I suppose that you'll become a monster by then. If you're already this strong, and those strange ability of yours will help you a lot, he said, against the enemy that is unaware of your abilities. So, I want to hear great things from you, kid. Because I know, with the abilities that you've shown, the way you talk, and the way you do things, that you will be someone very important in this world. I believe so as well, said Haku. As she stepped forward, take care of yourself, Naruto, she said. As she hugged him, he hugged her back. Don't worry, he said. And make sure you watch out for yourself as well. I will, she said. As she pulled back and then kissed him on the cheek, making his cheek blush red a bit. Stay safe, cutie, she whispered, as she saw him blush a bit before she giggled. As she looked back at Team 7, goodbye everyone, she said, as Zabuza gave them a salute, as Team 7 waved them off before they headed off. That was nice, said Naruto. At least nothing bad happened, said Sakura. And everyone can go their separate way and be happy. Yeah, said Naruto. Hey Sakura, what is it, Naruto, she said. You know that your chest is really flat. Yeah, I know, she said. Yeah, said Naruto. I mean, Haku just hugged me a moment ago, and I could feel her breast pressed up against me, but you. I mean, man, you really need to work on that or something. Yeah, I know, she said. Kakashi and Sasuke was wondering if they were hearing correctly, as Sakura was disagreeing with him. As Naruto heard her moving behind him. Hey, what are you doing? He asked. Sakura, said Kakashi. What's wrong, Kakashi-sensei? She said in an insane tone. You know you can't do that, right? As Naruto turned, as he looked at the back of his shirt to see at least 3 paper bombs on them. You crazy psychotic bitch, he said. Were you planning to blow me up? He asked. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, as she started to walk off with a sweet smile on her face, making the others two look at her with a worried look on their face. Did she just try to kill me? Naruto asked, as Sasuke looked at him. Next time you keep your mouth shut. As Sasuke walked off. Time skip. The bridge was named the Great Naruto Bridge, well, by most of the people kicking in that, after all that big feast that he gave to them. Yes, all of them loved him there. As the group was currently heading back to Konoha, between everything that he was wrapped up in, Naruto didn't realize something. Well, he did spoke to Yamato. Well, barely. As he was really quiet. He blamed himself for what happened, even though Naruto told him that it wasn't his fault. He was the one that gave him the order. As Yamato still didn't talk that much. But the thing was, it was a Kyuubi. She hasn't spoke to him. Not at all. He went into the mindscape. He tried to enter the house. But she wouldn't answer him at all. As he felt like she just needed some time. As Yamato shook his head when he asked him about it. To just give her some time to be alone. Because she wouldn't even talk to Yamato. She wouldn't talk to anyone. As Yamato remembered seeing her cry. As he was still upset about that. So for once, Naruto's head was rather quiet. And he didn't like it. It was just too quiet. He always loved to hear them bicker and curse amongst each other. But now it was just dead silence. Time skip. Sarutobi sighed as he rubbed his head. I'm getting too old for this, he said. Naruto, I knew you wanted to protect her and all. But that was rather stupid of you to do. I know, said Naruto. No, you don't understand, said Sarutobi. That was incredibly reckless and stupid of you to do. Why would you, knowing the backlash of your attack, do something like that? What if you had died out there? As Naruto looked down, Sarutobi sighed. As Naruto was the only one left in the office, as Kakashi had given the report, as Sarutobi dismissed them all and leave Naruto alone. I just didn't want to kill her, said Naruto. As Sarutobi could understand that part, but Naruto almost got himself killed for a foreign kunoichi by putting himself in a rather dangerous position What would Haku or everyone else think here? The people that cared about him think if he had gotten himself killed on his mission. Promise me that you will never, under no circumstances, do anything as stupid as that again. I promise me, said Sarutobi. I promise, said Naruto. As Sarutobi sighed, can you, not tell Uncle about this, Naruto asked. Knowing how mad she would get at you, I will refrain from doing so. But there won't be a next time because you will never do something as reckless as this again. Are we clear? Yeah, said Naruto. Moments later, Naruto was walking the road. Yeah, he did a messed up thing back there. He could have gotten himself killed. Things haven't even changed between him and Yamato and the Kyuubi yet, as she refused to talk to either of them. As the place was just silent, Naruto considered a voice. As Naruto turned, as he turned to see the smiling face of his best friend Hinata, she smiled at him before noticing the look on his face. She always knew when he was sad about something. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? She said. Oh, it's nothing. As she narrowed her eyes at him, you know I can tell when you're lying, right? We've been best friends for a long time now. So can you please tell me what's wrong, so I can at least try to help you with it? It's nothing, Naruto said. Hinata glared at him, well, not a hateful glare, as she grabbed his arm. Hey, where are we going? Naruto said. Ichiraku ramen, she said. You're treating me? Naruto asked. Well, you talk better when you have a full stomach, she said. As Naruto sighed because she knew him so well, as he just let her drag him off. Moments later, as Naruto just finished with his 10th bowl of ramen, as Hinata was smiling the entire time looking at him, as she was thinking he was so cute when he eats. Hey, what's so funny? Naruto asked. Oh, nothing, she said. Huh, you sure do eat a lot though, she said. Aren't you gonna eat anything? He asked. No, I'm fine, she said. I just had some cinnamon rolls. But eat as much as you want, she said. After another 10th bowl, which Hinata generously paid for all of it, they headed off. Thanks for the ramen again, Naruto said. As Hinata looked at him. Your stomach is now full, she said. So tell me, what happened? As Naruto looked at her. Well, after flipping the bill for that, I guess I might as well explain, Naruto said. You better, she said. Well, I kinda messed up on my mission. What do you mean messed up? Did something bad happen to you? She said. Calm down, he said. You see, the old man is not really... Well, he's kind of angry to what I did. What you did? Yeah, you see, there was this girl there. She was a rather nice girl, but she was hanging out with this bad guy. A man known as Zabuza. I was in the process of fighting Zabuza. The girl jumped in the way of my attack, and I had to stop it. So, I ordered Yamato to jump in front of my attack. What are you saying? You know that Yamato reflect and cannot get hurt by any of your attacks, she said. As Hinata already knew everything about it. Just because Yamato did not talk to anyone else, Naruto told Hinata everything. He was her best friend after all. Well, yeah. So that gave me a rather nasty backlash. And my heart kind of stopped, he said. Your heart? Yeah, said Naruto. But don't worry, I'm fine now. And the old man just told me to never do something like that again. So, well, that is what was bothering me earlier. So you don't have to smack. Naruto was completely cut off as a slap echoed. He was shocked. He was utterly shocked. As he turned his face to see where the slap came from, and yes, it was her. As Hinata's hand was still extended from the slap. As he couldn't believe it. She had never once hit him before. As he saw the anger and tears in her eyes. But guys, be any subscribe right here. If you want the next part of this, or know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn the notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But more for now, see you guys soon. Peace.